Okay, so thank you very much once again. Here at ICC, we're going to cover really how software-driven wireless networking technologies help our partners deliver return on investment as well as profitability. Just a few starting items that we'd like to focus on real quick. Please, I encourage everyone to mute their phones. Sometimes some people, they're maybe in their cars or in a fairly busy area, just to sort of help out the noise. Please enter questions into the chat window. Feel free to enter those at any point in time. I will answer them as quickly as possible. Make sure that the presentation goes as smoothly while at the same time as efficiently as possible. We will also, at the end of October, start having these presentations. This current one is being recorded, and you will be able to find these presentations at the www.ICCNetworking.com website as well. There'll also be a historic list of all of our monthly webinars that can be found on YouTube or via our website. All right, fantastic. So let's go ahead and get started. For most of you that are not aware of who are the details behind ICC, let me just give you a quick background. First of all, we are a design, manufacturing, and distribution house for our branded software-driven IP data networking solution. That obviously includes everything from Ethernet switching, enterprise-level access points, premise and cloud-based control systems, and monetization systems. We really focus on really 4 core objectives: being simple, so that we're easy to deploy and cost-effective; smart, so that it's a highly flexible and expandable solution, as well as scalable; and then focus on performance with our patent-pending optimization, for lack of a better word, intelligent traffic cop; and then obviously content focus. And you'll see all of these as we marshal through this presentation today as well. It's a very quick presentation that we're going to run through. We're going to go through some basic platform ideas and then take you through the evolution that we are seeing in the marketplace, so that you can understand why we believe in the need for more intelligent networking equipment, especially closer to the edge of the actual physical network. So let's get started. There are really 3 main priority areas that we look at from a managed service perspective, right? There's the platform. You have to have the right platform in order to enable managed services, and managed services are a very important part of that recurring revenue, return on investment, as well as profitability side of things, especially in a market segment or multiple market segments that continue to move services and equipment off-site to hosted venues, or have service providers hosting it for the actual physical customer. So greater control of that platform, regardless of where that platform can be around the corner or around the globe. The ability to then manage and process information from that platform then becomes central in your ability to then drive profitability. From a process perspective, the importance of the IP data networking process of how information flows then also becomes essential. That information then needs to be, since it no longer necessarily, it may be originating on site at the customer environment, but then that information may very well need to go to a central database, or does it need to go to a data center or to a hosted environment that may very well be in multiple physical locations. And how we treat that information from a software perspective then becomes vital. And then the last part is the policy. The ability to change the characteristic as well as the policy for that information then also becomes a primary area from a management standpoint in managing that client ecosystem. So once again, the platform, the process, and the policy become vital as far as return on investment and looking at the customer environment. And you have to have these things to make up a good, solid return on investment, as well as total cost of ownership for the customer in this new economy. Now, what does that actually look like from an ICC networking perspective? And how do we enable the customer and you, our partners, to then leverage our solutions? So let's just break it down from an enabler and also results perspective. On the ICC networking side of things, not only is there the unified IP data network solution and support, that's where we start. Those are broken out into three basic areas. White glove service, which is more of our consulting arm that enables our partners to then leverage our pre and post sales and sales engineering teams to help them with everything from design support, RMA, zero RMA support, and customer engagement support. Our technology platform, process, and policy, as we just formally spoke about. And then obviously our cloud systems and cloud resources that then allow our partners to then leverage those environments to then deliver a solution to their customers that is a holistic solution. So therefore, not only do you have the support, you have the fantastic platforms, you then also have the cloud enablement piece of that to then manage and control all of these environments in a single view. And then, of course, we have our engagement model and channel alliances. Once again, ICC is a 100% channel. We do not sell direct to the end user, so we rely and heavily partner with our channel partners, resellers, and distributors to make sure that not only our message gets out to the customer, but also more importantly, the value and return on investment that winds up being the end result for the customer as well. So delivering that message, our channel partners, our resellers and installers and system providers and managed service providers, then they drive and we work with them to drive customer results, whether or not those customers, once again, could be a very small business, retail store with one, maybe two access points in it, to a very large enterprise environment where we're talking about lighting up a whole island with a full suite of solutions that go from wireless WAN all the way down into the customer environment as well. And then, of course, we also focus on the business expansion side of things, right? Return on investment and growth is very important for us, so we work very closely with our partners to ensure that there is a consistent month-over-month, year-over-year objective that we're focused on in order to hit and grow your actual business. And once again, not necessarily growing business based on just our technology, but because we ensure that our technology is flexible, we want to make sure that we're targeting the market segments that our partners are targeting for greater inertia when we're creating sales and marketing materials as well. And then obviously we have the end result being profitability and also growth. Now, what's changed? As we talk about profitability and growth, right, one of the first things that we spoke about was the platform itself. Over time, what has happened from an IP data perspective, what we're seeing with the flood of what's called IoT or Internet of Things, and the other acronym you're going to hear is M2M or machine-to-machine communication. All of these devices, the end devices, the customer devices that could be laptops, tablets, smart devices, etc. Historically, we've had unmanaged environments, unmanaged switches, hubs, etc., which is really just connectivity, connecting point A to point B. We've slowly graduated into a little bit more managed environment where you had a little bit more of a service infrastructure. You started talking about SLAs and uptime, but still it was void of dealing with the physical content itself flowing over that actual network. Now we're in an environment with hyperconnectivity, and hyperconnectivity really focuses on multiple billions of devices now coming together on single networks. And so in order to manage those devices, understand those devices, where do those devices need to be connected, how they need to be connected, we also now have to have not just focus on connecting point A to point B, but also understanding the details between point A and point B and that content. So on the ICC side of things, that's why we focus on having software-driven connectivity and efficiency, which is really so central around our patents. The content, how we deliver that content, so the policies with that content, the security, starting security capabilities as close to the edge as possible, and then layering that security on throughout the physical network. And then obviously performance, to have industry-leading price for performance. So these all become a central part now in the modern day world of looking at How do I look at return on investment, delivering a proper solution to the client, as opposed to simply throwing an unmanaged product out there and expecting data to come back back into the physical network without any performance capabilities. So what does that mean? This isn't something that we ourselves alone are parroting. It's actually something that is actively going on from a market perspective. As you can see from an IDC research standpoint, within the next few years, 40% of all IoT traffic, right, will be stored, processed, analyzed, and acted upon close to or at the edge of the network. So what does that mean? What that means is that the access devices, as you can see here, whether or not that access method may very well be an Ethernet switch or a wireless device, as they have shown here, those devices have to be more intelligent. So there are some in the marketplace that believe that you simply have a cloud environment and basically an unmanaged, you just throw access points out there that are unmanaged and just collects information at the end of the day. Clearly the market is going in a different direction. It has to be a more intelligent direction to be able to control at the very, very, very edge of that network the information that first comes into the network. And there are many reasons for that, everything from security to performance to the ability to then route that information where that information needs to go back into a data center or some sort of a hosted environment as well. And you have to have that kind of intelligent, flexible cloud infrastructure. So when we talk about cloud, we're not just simply talking about sort of an unimagined image of a data center that simply sits out there. Cloud architecture to us starts on site and then goes off site, and it's a singular structure that you can then actually control from an architecture perspective with an intelligent environment as well, and that's central. And it's central because what we're also seeing is the decline over time of unmanaged kinds of environments and the increase of managed. So you can see layer 2 and layer 3 managed switch environments, switch sales continuing to increase. So from a service provider perspective, your ability to then manage that environment becomes central because the customer is going to be deploying different types of technology over a greater amount of time. So being able to manage that environment helps with your return on investment, helps with your profitability, helps to drive services, and also helps to make sure that your customers stay loyal to you because you have the services over a longer period of time that they're actually physically looking for. Now, what does that mean, right? You know, when you're looking at technology, you have to look at, you know, what is your vendor actually doing? And setting that up, you have to then ask these kinds of questions, right? How does your vendor actually handle and resolve these kinds of issues, right, with content and policies, et cetera? You know, are your edge devices just simply collectors of information or intelligent policy holders of content that then can better control? Because the better control you have over that content, the more services and the more justification for charging that customer the fees on an ongoing basis that you actually have. And then are you using cloud to reduce operational costs and not as a tool to drive revenue, right? So from a great, we understand the reduction in operational costs, but then there's also the other side actually to drive revenue higher. So we all need to make that turn into the revenue aspect of the cloud side of things as well. And then once sold on a networking platform, are you actually getting the value, or is the vendor driving the technology conversation? Far too often we see in the marketplace vendors are, because they are hardware driven, look to simply drive their solution for the next upgrade cycle. You know, we hear it on an ongoing basis. Now it's wave 2, and you've got to do wave 2, and so, you know, upgrade your customers to wave 2 without the customer and the resellers actually understanding why and how to deploy it properly to make sure that it's effective for the actual physical customer. And we help you through all of these processes with the ICC technology as well. Now, what ends up happening on the ICC side of things from a path perspective, this is where ICC starts to shine. The ability to from a data perspective, manage, ensure service control, the content, policy control, as well as the architectural control, where, how, what that deployment is actually done. From a cloud perspective, the ability to then optimize the physical performance, data analytics perspective to drive the business optimization side of things, and then obviously understanding the results over a longer period of time. All of those enable us to help you, our partners, not only grow your business, but also expand your business with your individual customers. And let's take a look at some of those kinds of things that we're talking about. So one of the big questions from an ICC perspective is what does our business model enable, right? We enable our alliance members and partners with an advanced platform, all enterprise feature sets, all the way down to the end end access devices, low or no monthly service costs, and then obviously the ability to then drive higher margins for you, our partners, on an ongoing and residual basis. And that becomes a central concept in all of our product releases and all of our technology conversations with all of our partners as well. And how do we enable that? Obviously, there are really in the ICC product line, there are really four main primary steps that we look at. We have the advanced hardware, and because we have a lifetime warranty on that hardware, there is one no yearly per device per year charge for support. So support is free, as well as the physical hardware is also state-of-the-art, industry-leading hardware with Broadcom chipsets in the switching and Atheros Qualcomm chipsets in the wireless equipment as well. Patented software that enables with advanced features in every single one of the devices that then allows you greater control over the content from as far down as you possibly can from the edge perspective. The ability to do device monitoring with the ICX Manager, and then the data analytics and monetization with the ICX Cloud as well. So you take the whole solution together, and then you're able to now enter into an environment where not only is your customer able to see the benefits from a single solution for any one of their environments, be they an enterprise environment to an MDU environment to a small business environment, but now they can actually track, understand the content, and then use that content for net positive gains as well. And so what does that actually physically look like? When we divide out the physical product line, each of these sections of the product line, the unified access device, which have advanced features in them, the access control devices in the center, which are controller-based premise solution, and then you have the cloud side of things with the ICX Cloud and the ICX Manager. Each of them are enabling more services and profits over a longer period of time. And as an example, what ends up happening is that, as you can see on the left-hand side, over 4 years, based on what your customer needs, if you deploy a certain solution, say 6 months down, say you're looking to deploy wireless intrusion detection. Well, our solution, our premise-based solution, supports wireless intrusion detection in 11 different ways, whether or not that is whitelist or blacklist, whether or not you're detecting rogue APs, whether or not you're actively shutting down other devices in that customer's environment that may very well be threats. Over a period of time, the customer's needs for intrusion detection and wireless protection will evolve and will change. And so you're able, from a services standpoint, change for that customer over a longer period of time. Maybe one day they want to have a blacklist, the next day they want to have a whitelist, so on and on and on. And you end up having greater flexibility with the overall solution over a greater amount of time. Same thing with some of the other features such as Q&Q. There are different policy management capabilities to do end-to-end voice over IP at multiple locations without necessarily needing different VLANs or different IP addresses over your service provider. So the ability to connect unit to unit between multiple locations is also physically there to then support new applications that the customer may not necessarily have needed today, but maybe a year from now, maybe 6 months from now, that they would like to have over a longer period of time. So with the singular cost of the initial deployment, you then also have a device that not only has no additional licensing charge, but also ensures that you are able to deploy services and support for that customer and have a platform that supports those features over a longer period of time. So it meets that customer's shifting needs. You're better able to handle new requirements when they come up from that customer without saying, oh my God, this product doesn't fit, so you got to upgrade the whole network because we need these additional features to support your environment. And you're better able to then deploy layers of security and policy throughout that actual network. So what does that actually look like, right? I mean, at the end of the day, numbers don't lie, even though how they're put together can often mislead. And so we did just a quick snapshot comparison, right? When we deploy, for example, with the ICC Link series premise controllers as a simple example, one of the first things that we did was actually to deploy that particular product with more access point licenses than anyone else on the marketplace today. So as a standard standalone product, the smallest box, the Link 1000 comes with 16 licenses and the Link 2000 comes with 32. You compare that to the Ruckus 1200 series where they start off at 5 licenses and then goes up to 75. And if you want to add an individual access point license, well, according to CDW, I'm sure you all obviously have more aggressive pricing than this. It's another $150 per access point to add licenses. So right there, you're talking about a significant difference in value if you're deploying a traditional environment, even a small hotel or a small an SMB environment where you're really using 10 to 14 access points at most for that customer. The single cost of the controller itself winds up including all of those additional costs. So what happens is that competing product may seem initially at first competitive, but then when you add up the total costs of getting the customer up and running, suddenly now those costs are actually very explosive in comparison to the ICC product line and how we've actually set up the business model. Once again, the additional feature sets such as security packages with supporting 11 different ways of doing wireless intrusion detection compared to 5 on the Zone Director 1200. Product support on an ongoing basis, design assistance, special protocol configurations, white glove service. There's something interesting called Zero RMA where we extend. It's an alliance loaner program. Some of our partners are able to do 2- and 4-hour replacement rather than 24-hour replacement. And so they look and feel a lot more and can handle enterprise environments a lot more effectively because we're extending our inventory. So there we give them a loaner product to support that particular customer from a local perspective. And then obviously, the ability to have controller captive portal capability and other feature sets that are physically built in. Now, while it is a significant difference compared to the vendor, on the positive side for our partners are able to then go out and charge for a lot of these features. So, changing from a support perspective and services perspective, we have a lot of partners that are able to go out and charge for the security package and charge for changing those security package over time, charge for the product support, charge for the design assistance, even though we're the ones that are actually helping our partners with it. We'll do the design, put their name on it, and give it to our partners as well. So once again, it's part of that white glove service that we wrap around our partners to ensure that they're properly supported, that they understand the technology, and that they're able to then move forward in a very profitable manner with the actual customer. And what does that then drive? It drives the ability for our managed service providers to then focus on a variety of clients and their networking needs over a longer period of time. So whether or not those clients are concerned and looking to deploy self-healing and tracking and the ability to be scalable, whether or not they're concerned about authentication and different feature sets, you're then able to, based on what those feature sets are, deploy those over a greater amount of time lowering the initial cost of ownership for the customer as well. Now, coming down to the end of our presentation, we have a couple of very interesting examples of different environments, and as we said before, the solution is deployed in a variety of environments. So you'll see a couple of those different environments as well. This particular one is actually a very large manufacturing facility where they're building Mastercraft boats. So there's a lot of aluminum filament in the area. There's also a significant amount of robotics equipment, and so not only did the network have to be divided out into different secure zones and capabilities for the workers, the robotics, as well as management, but it also had to have a certain level of performance. And so being able to then deliver that, our local reseller and service provider was able to then become part of their IT team by being the outsourced part, being the expert part, and then charge for not only remote management, security management, and then consulting on an ongoing basis where they weren't doing this before, and maintain an efficient environment. Same thing in the hospitality realm, where the challenges there are significant, whereby you have different transient people coming back and forth. You have more of an IoT kind of an environment where you have an average of 2 to 3 devices per individual, some as high as 5 to 6 devices, constantly coming on and off the network, moving to and fro, and so having a more stable network environment with seamless high-density Wi-Fi for both guests as well as the staff became central. And in this particular example with our service provider, not only were they able to then provide ongoing service call management as well as remote management, they also had security management that they included as also. So basically, what we're finding is that it's very important to start to look at how these solutions are deployed in order to get to a point of revenue by having a sort of a singular ecosystem that's designed around the client, right, where the client needs to have that level of efficiency, reduced costs, flexibility, and cost of ownership. And we're enabling our service provider partners to be able to add a variety of types of services over and above what the standard product line actually offers, particularly from a competition perspective. And then that becomes obviously cyclical based on when the client needs to upgrade and change their environments as well. Okay. So there are a couple of product-specific demonstrations that we want to run through on these last 4 slides. So when we look at the what's called the UAD devices, the Unified Access Devices, these are for all wireless environments where you have the ability to do outdoor, indoor. They are MAC aware, meaning that they can see the different devices in that environment. Cost-effective as well as customizable based on request and remote management. There's no ongoing licensing cost, and the ability to then leverage a cloud platform allows you for almost no cost deployment, as well as security and built-in encryption and VLAN. Also PCI compliance on this particular product line. Very, very simple to deploy, because it is managed from a central cloud environment with multiple authentication layers, multiple capabilities to have captive portal, routing, firewall, as well as the use. It is definitely 16 SSIDs per the actual chip, and so as a result you have a total of 32 SSIDs with supporting VLANs and radius profiles. In your typical environment, how this then interacts with the whole system, you not only have your on-site where you're able to, whether that be a retail or some other kind of environment for the full solution, information and management going back into cloud environments that then allow you to do device monitoring as well as data analytics, marketing, and monetization of that actual system. And then on our traditional enterprise access control system, you then have a very interesting environment that can be set up that's very scalable, simple to physically use, as well as being able to then have advanced features from an enterprise perspective. We find that some of our customers still want to make sure from a performance perspective as well as security perspective that they have they don't just only have a cloud controller environment. They have the ability to put that controller, physical controller, on site, or have it hosted in multiple locations as well. And that allows them to do a number of things. One, they can host it centrally and then deploy access points to their physical locations and still maintain all of the secure information, while at the same time ensuring PCI compliance, remote AP servicing, security, end-to-end voice over IP, and a whole host of other feature sets. So when it comes down to it, the goal of our platforms from a platform policy and performance perspective has been to shift the current IP networking model into a next generation IP networking model where your focus is less on connectivity from point A to point B, and the focus really happens to be on the services side of things and the enablement side of things, where you're able to better support your customers for a longer period of time, better deploy the services that you're deploying, as well as the applications that you're deploying, and having the right platform that then supports that application over a longer period of time. And then that obviously improves the total cost of ownership for that platform and for that customer. So that brings us to a conclusion on our presentation. If there are there any questions? I don't see any questions in the chat box right now. Please definitely do. We will be emailing out when the presentation is posted online. Please feel free to contact us directly, sales@intcomcorp.com, and we can answer any of your questions. We can get one of our pre or post sales engineers on the line. We do free 30-day evaluations of any one of our product solutions, and we look forward to getting engaged with you and your organization. Thank you, and have a great rest of the week.